بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين واللعنة الدائمة الأبدية على أعدائهم أجمعين إلى قيام يوم الدين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. If you go to مناسك الحج on the website of Sayyid Ali Sistani دام ظله, you will have in the section of Manasik al-Hajj, there is this annex, an annex of Manasik al-Hajj. Today we are going to do the topic of al-istinaba fi tawaf, assigning somebody or appointing or seeking representation in tawaf. So somebody can represent you in tawaf, can do tawaf on your behalf. So so we can say representation in tawaf. So question number one, what is the ruling in representing someone to perform the obligatory tawaf and he is not able to perform the tawaf in wheelchair, or he cannot, or performing the tawaf with him, even by carrying him, cannot be performed. So it can, tawaf on wheelchair cannot be performed. Tawaf by carrying him or her cannot be performed. So he said that representation is no, sorry, it is opposite. So what is the ruling if someone uh, what is the ruling if to designating someone or representing someone to do the obligatory tawaf for someone who can perform the tawaf on wheelchair, or he can perform the tawaf by being carried? So that's the question. So he said, لا تصح. It is not permissible. The tawaf will be invalid by representation in such cases, because he can do tawaf on wheelchair, and as we mentioned, the wheelchair will be under the direction of the person who's performing the tawaf. So whenever he wants to stop, the one who pushes the wheelchair will stop. Whenever he says continue, continue. So the wheelchair or the carriage, the one who's going to carry, like stretchers before they used to carry, that also, or somebody is carrying, his mom is weak and skinny and that, and he's carrying his mom on his shoulder and doing tawaf. So his mom can tell him, no, wait, I want to go to the restroom. Can we stop? Can we rest? So as long as the person who's pushing the wheelchair or carrying the person who's performing the tawaf has the one who's supposed to do the tawaf has the control over the the one who pushes the wheelchair or the one who's carrying that person. So the question number two, if he was not able to perform the tawaf by himself and the family, okay, family, um, not the family, this is like it's not usra, this asirra, the stretcher, okay, because the now I don't they don't allow, but before they used to allow on the ground floor people, two people carrying a stretcher, okay, like the stretcher of the funeral with the sides, so it's like a bed, and then a person sits on that stretcher. So he says that the stretchers are available. The people of the stretcher, the stretcher, tawaf on stretcher is available. He is not able to perform the tawaf by himself, and those who have the stretcher, they are charging excessive amount, like extremely excessive amount, not moderate amount, very high amount, in a way that it is considered too much for for that person. That means beyond the capacity of that person to pay that much amount. So the stretchers are there, but the amount is beyond the capacity of that person. He cannot afford it. So is in this case, the stretchers are there, but the amount is not there to pay them. So is it possible to seek representation to to appoint someone who can do the tawaf on that person's behalf? Yes, he says it is permissible because this it's not about the availability of the stretchers or not. It's all the integrated holistic factors. It allows that person to perform the tawaf. Let's say people on stretchers are there. Money is there also, but they are not going to perform the tawaf correct. So that also. So basically the idea is the holistic idea that will the people of stretcher perform the tawaf correct? Will they charge amount affordable amount, or are the stretchers available in the from the beginning? So these factors they all come together in the impermissibility of appointing someone. However, if these factors they are not available and the stretcher is there but it's beyond the capacity, or there are no stretchers, or stretchers are there and they're in the capacity, but there's another problem, like for example they don't perform tawaf properly. So in this case, excuse me, it is permissible to appoint representative. So here a scenario that a person, he was in Mina, like he did Umrat al-Tamattu. Now he did Arafat, he did Muzdalifah, and is in Mina. And somehow he went to pelt the shaitan, for example, in Mina, somehow, okay. And the shaitan was angry and he zapped him with a heart attack, okay. Or he felt that hyperbolic spirituality attack, that oh, he defeated the shaitan today, he was able to pelt the shaitan, and whoopsie daisy, he got heart attack. Anyhow, somehow he got heart attack in Mina, okay. uh he was transported, transmitted or transported into the hospital, and then he cannot do the tawaf and all the amal, because the person who gets heart attack, he needs to rest for a good while of time. You see, in hospital or in the house on bed, he should not be doing any activity, especially tawaf. I mean, if he enters the tawaf in the first round, second round, his body will be extracted from among the people who are performing tawaf, especially if he goes to that zone, red zone, the Hajar Aswad, Hajar al-Aswad zone. So, the war zone. So here, now he's compelled to appoint somebody to perform the amal on his behalf. So, not just tawaf, salat al-tawaf, and the sa'i between Safa and Marwa. However, after 2 weeks, he was released from the hospital. So, will it be obligatory upon him to redo the amal of Makkah? He says he cannot appoint a representative as long as the time is flexible. That means A'mal Makkah uh, and until the end of Dhul Hajj. We said if someone he cannot, he can wait until the end of Dhul Hajj. So he says his representation is not correct, invalid, as long as the time to perform these a'mal remains, and there is a possibility that he may get out of the hospital. Therefore, it is obligatory upon him to do the amal by himself. Okay, so that means the amal which was performed by the representative are not in its place, not valid. If someone is able to perform some rounds of the tawaf only, can he appoint a representative to do the remaining rounds, or he should appoint a representative to perform the entire tawaf? Okay. He knows he will not be able to perform some rounds. So what will he do? He said, should he appoint his representative to complete on his behalf, or do the whole thing from the beginning? So if he knows that the answer, if he knows that he ahead of time, if he knows in advance that he is going to be unable, he will be unable to perform the complete tawaf, then he needs to appoint somebody to perform the complete tawaf on his behalf. Okay. So complete tawaf needs to be done by the representative. When? If he knows that he will not be able to perform the tawaf from the beginning, the entire tawaf. So that is number one. وكذا إذا طرأ عليه العجز قبل إتمام الشوط الرابع. Similar rule will apply if he becomes unable to complete the remaining rounds of tawaf, if the inability encounters before completing the fourth round. That means the representative will do the whole rounds. However, if the inability, okay, to complete the tawaf encounters after completing the fourth round, then he says, to me, al-aqrab, that means some scholars might disagree. To me, it is permissible to represent someone for the remaining rounds. It will be permissible to appoint a representative to perform the remaining rounds. Good. Question 5. It has been mentioned in the Manasik al-Hajj, that means the main text of Manasik al-Hajj, that if somebody loses his consciousness, okay, he loses his consciousness, that means he was knocked out, okay, for some reason. So let's say he lost his consciousness. And then what should he do? So in Manasik, Sayyidina, you said that his guardian or anyone else should perform the tawaf on his behalf. So is it necessary that this person who's going to perform the tawaf on his behalf to be a volunteer, or it can be also somebody by hiring? So should we have to appoint the representative to perform the tawaf on behalf of this person who has lost his consciousness, to be a volunteer, or it can be someone, a paid person, as you can hire someone? He says both are okay. Both are permissible. Question number 6. إذا توفى الحاج بعد أعمال منى قبل أداء طواف الحج. If someone died in Mina, many cases are there that people, they die in Mina because of the crowd and because of the various reasons, or falling from the bridge. Okay. So because of the crowd, they get squeezed and they get exhausted. So people, they get on the fence of the bridge and a little bit push and whoopsie daisy all the way down. So and many people, they died because of this situation. So that's why, let's say somebody, okay, follower of Sayyidi Sistani Damadullah, he, after completing A'mal Mina, so this guy pelted the stone and everything and he was relieved. Okay. But the tawaf was left. Tawaf al-Hajj, Salat Tawaf al-Hajj, Sa'i between Safa and Marwa, Tawaf al-Nisa, Salat Tawaf. Those things were left. Sandwich, Tawaf, Sa'i, Tawaf. I call it sandwich. Okay. So, and while he was going in Makkah, he got this attack or hyperbolic attack or something, and he died. Okay. He died before performing the A'mal of Hajj, A'mal of Makkah, Tawaf of Hajj. Is it obligatory to perform uh, the qada of it on his behalf, and whatever is obligatory after it? That means tawaf and 2 rakat tawaf and the on the guardian. So is it obligatory on the guardian to make up the tawaf and the salat al tawaf and the sa'i and the salat al tawaf and nisa and the salat tawaf and nisa on his behalf? So if the guardians, the answer, if the guardians, if the guardian or anyone else performs them on behalf of that person, there's no problem. But what if no one does? Then we need to find somebody, pay that person to perform. Okay? So وَإِلَّا فَالْأَحْوَطِ الْأَوْلَى, otherwise it is recommended precaution to take out from the share of the elderly of the inheritors. Okay? من حصص كبار الورثة برضاهم, out of their consensus. Okay, so okay, you are the elder son, you are the elder sister, you got the chunks of the inheritance. Now can you guys pay some of that to hire someone so that we can get you the tawaf and the salat tawaf of your father done? If you are not able to, you don't want to, you're then it's nice that you just pay for that a person to perform those things, and you can give them from the share which you took from the mirath, or the custodian of the mirath, he can take the share with their consensus, biridahum. So from the elder, حصص كبار الورثة, from the shares of the elderly ones, from the those who inherited, inheritors. Okay. Question number 7. Someone is responsible to appoint a representative for the tawaf and salat al-tawaf. Okay. So, like for example, we mentioned the example in the beginning that there are no stretchers, there are no wheelchairs. Somebody has to perform. So, is it permissible for that person to appoint a representative for tawaf and another representative for salat al-tawaf? Two different representatives. Like, should it be the one who's going to do tawaf, he needs to do salat al-tawaf, or no, one can do tawaf, one can do salat al-tawaf? So he says both are acceptable. Both are acceptable. I mean, either one person does, and yeah, he says that is also acceptable. That someone does tawaf and someone does tawaf, salat of tawaf. If a person enters the state of ihram on behalf of someone else, okay, niyaba, representation, للعمرة المفردة, ihram of umrah of mufrada, which we do it annually, anytime. ولكنه نسي, however he forgot, and he performed the tawaf on his behalf, not on behalf of the one whom he is representing. So is it obligatory upon him to redo the a'mal? Okay, redo the a'mal on behalf of that person or no? So is it obligatory to redo? He says, Naam. Yes. Uh, whatever he performed from tawaf or anything else after tawaf. Okay. So whatever he performed on his behalf uh, is will not be considered, will not be sufficient for someone else, even though his ihram is for on behalf of someone else. But his amal, he did it on his behalf, not on behalf of that someone else. So yes, he needs to redo the whole thing back again. What about somebody who's doing niyabat? Okay. Um, yes, so this is question number 8. Good. No, this was question number 8. So we are now question number 9. So someone representing someone else doubts during the second round. What is his doubt? His doubt is, did I made the intention to represent someone else, or I did the intention for myself from the beginning of tawaf? So what should be his responsibility? Now he completed the during the second round. During the second round, he doubts. In my first round, did I make the intention for me, or for the representative for the representative who represented me on behalf of the one who appointed me? So he's doubting. Where is he? Second round. And he's doubting, did he do that in the first round? Okay. And now niyaba min bidayat al-tawaf, from the beginning of the tawaf. So he says, remember, ruling of the doubt. After finishing, you ignore the doubt. He's doubting after completing the first round. He's in the second round. That did he make the intention in the first round on behalf of himself, or on behalf of the one who have represented him? So he'll say, you have completed first round, ignore the doubt. You did on behalf of the representative. We'll consider the amal correct. And from now on, so فَمَا هِيَ وَظِيفَتُهُ. So he says that, so is it like, should he be applying the rule of end? That means at the end of the first round, you did, you doubted after that. Let me rephrase it properly. If a person, a representing person, he represents someone else, he doubts in his second round that did he make the intention in the first round, in the beginning, even beginning, on his behalf or on behalf of someone else. Okay. So what is his responsibility? Normally, after completing the first round, he doubted. That means his first round is correct. The problem is during the second round, he doubts. That means now the second round is messed up. So here, say the Sistani Damadullah says he has to redo the whole tawaf. Okay, redo the whole tawaf. So the doubt here, for first round it may be okay, but for second round it's not okay. But Sayyidi Sistani Damadullah is not implementing the rule of end of the first round in this case. So he says he should redo the whole tawaf with the intention of Naib. So, yeah. And yeah, so he's doubting from the beginning. So the foundation, if he had started his tawaf with the intention of Naib, then it got changed. And then at the end he doubts that did I change or not. Then obviously you will apply the rule of n, because the beginning was okay. But here the doubt is in the beginning of the tawaf. Did I start correct or not? So he's doubting in the foundation of it. So say the Sistani Damodala says he must redo the whole tawaf with the intention of niyaba. Question number 10. Is it permissible for someone who's representing in tawaf of Umrat al-Tamattu or tawaf of Hajj to perform them in other than the season of Hajj? So we said that tawaf of Umrat al-Tamattu, tawaf of Hajj al-Tamattu, the limit is, deadline is end of the Hajj, which is the season of Hajj. So here the question is, if somebody is representing someone in Tawaf of Umrat al-Tamattu or Tawaf of Hajj al-Tamattu, can he perform them in a season which is not a season of Hajj? He says that the representative should perform the Tawaf in the time which is the time of the one whom he is representing. That means before the deadline. He says in a way that if the one whom he is representing was able to perform, what would his responsibility be? To perform it before the end of the Hajj. So the same responsibility befalls on the representative. Yes. So this is segment number one. If the one whom he's representing was able to do the tawaf and all these the set of the manasik of Hajj or manasik of Makkah, if he was able to perform in the season, what would he be? What would be his responsibility? To perform it in the season before the end of the Hajj. Okay, so here he says the representative should also do the same thing. Therefore, if someone had given him the representation to perform the tawaf of Umrat al-Tamattu, it would be necessary for him to perform the tawaf of Umrat al-Tamattu when? Before the noon time of the day of Arafah. Okay? Let's say somebody stretcher guy, somebody wheelchair guy was not able to with wheelchair stretcher, and he was doing Umrat al-Tamattu, and he appointed a representative. That representative should perform it before the noon time of day of Arafah. And if not, we had different alternatives, like if you're supposed to do qada, then before the end of the Hajj. And before the A'mal of Makkah, A'mal of Hajj of Makkah, he needs to finish A'mal of Umrat al-Tamattu on behalf of the one who has represented him. So he says that, yeah, before the noon of the day of Arafah, that is A'mal of Umrat al-Tamattu. And if he was appointed as a representative in performing the Tawaf of Hajj, then he has to perform it in the month of the Hajj, and it would not be permissible for him to delay it from that month. So Sayyidina, excuse me, what if he forgot the Tawaf of Umrat al-Tamattu, of Tawaf of Hajj, until he came back to his family, like hometown, and he was not able to go back to Makkah to recap or to redo or to perform those things which he was supposed to perform them while he is representing someone else on behalf of someone else. So so he says, Sayyid, that let's say he comes back to his hometown. Okay, he forgot either tawaf of Umrah al-Tamattu, either tawaf of Hajj, or both. He came back and he was not able to go back to Mecca. So he says he needs to appoint someone else. The representative needs to appoint a representative there, or someone who's going to go there to perform the tawaf of Umrah al-Tamattu slash Hajj al-Tamattu, or both, in any time. Okay, in any time, not necessarily in the season of Hajj, in the month of the Hajj. And it is also permissible for him to perform the tawaf of Hajj in any time that even the month of Dhul Hajj has been over. مع مضي ذي الحجة. So he says وكذا يجوز الاتيان بطواف الحج في أي وقت شاء مع مضي ذي الحجة. After the Hajj goes away, it's over, he can perform anytime. However, if the Hajj has not been over, they're still in the month of the Hajj. So the one who went to hometown, he needs to went back to his hometown. He needs to appoint someone to perform it in the month of the Hajj, before the month of the Hajj is over. Yeah. So this is the scenario. If he forgot Tawaf of Umrah al-Tamattu, Tawaf al-Hajj, he came back to his hometown, and now he has to appoint someone. He is not able to go back. That someone was available after the month of the Hajj. That's fine. However, if that someone was available in the month of the Hajj, then he needs to perform. Perform them. The second representative, he needs to perform them on behalf of the first representative in the month of Dhul Hajj, who's representing the principal person. So if month of Dhul Hajj is over, fine, you can appoint someone to perform it after the month of Dhul Hajj. But if the month of Dhul Hajj is not over, then it is necessary to perform them in the month of Dhul Hajj. Excuse me. هل يعتبر في النائب في طواف العمرة أن يكون محرما أم لا? So the person who's representing the tawaf of Umrah, so does he need to be in the state of Ihram? Let's say someone living in Makkah. Okay, he's going to perform the tawaf of Umrah on your behalf. Does he need to be in the state of Ihram? He says no. He doesn't need to be in the state of Ihram. You call someone, or he's in Makkah, or he has done his Umrah and he's in Medina. You call him, he's going to go to Makkah in less than 1 month. You see, because the validity of Ihram is 1 month. After 1 month, and this is lunar month, like literal month, not 30 days. So that means if you have done the Umrah 25th of Rajab and you want to go Makkah 27th of Rajab, without Ihram you can enter. First Shaban, no, you need to have an Ihram. Excuse me. So this is the validity of every Ihram is end of the lunar calendar. End, not 30 days, end of lunar calendar. So yeah, he doesn't need to be in the state of Ihram. Question number 13. Is it permissible for a muhrim, a person, to perform the tawaf on behalf, the obligatory tawaf on behalf of someone else before performing his own tawaf, be it in Umrah or Hajj? He says yes. You are in Ihram and you want to perform someone else's tawaf before your own tawaf, that's fine. You can do that. There's no problem in that. Uh, If a child has not reached the age of adolescence and you got him into the into the state of ihram, which says don't do those kind of mistakes, I mean, yes, if you know the rules properly, do it. But he's not baligh. Why are you getting him into ihram? He is not baligh. Why? He doesn't need to enter Makkah with ihram. Okay, so just let him do a decoy, whatever, but don't get him stuck into the ihram. And God forbid some mistake happens and you are not aware of it. He'll be stuck in his ihram all his life unless he goes there and relieves himself from a previous ihram. Okay, not by umrah. He may do the umrah, but what about the previous things? So. So here's the thing. What about the ruling of um, a child? Okay, discerning child. That means child who can know the good and bad, halal and haram. A child who has certain awareness, intellectual awareness. So discerning child. So you are taking him to tawaf. You made him do labbaik Allahumma labbaik. You made him enter the state of ihram, and now you are performing the tawaf with him, and he became exhausted. Okay. He became exhausted. He said, no, I don't want to. Or no, question number 14 is not exhausted. Okay. Question number 4, that's 15. Question number 14, they both 14, 15 are both for this child. So a child, he says, no, I don't want to do the tawaf. Okay. Uh, like he's just stubborn. No, I don't want to do tawaf. I don't. And I've seen some kids, families, they bring some kids and they don't want. And they're forced to do tawaf. And this child, I hope that he doesn't hate Islam. Okay, because you tortured him in this zones and squeeze, and he got squeezed, and he'll say, this Islam, I don't want this Islam. So these children sometimes are fragile. You need to be very careful in taking children in these places and preparing them properly and all those things. And then why ihram is not obligatory anyhow. So the child is stubborn now. No, he does not out of exhausting. No, I don't want to do tawaf. Why should I do tawaf? And this was not a discerning child. He was a child. Okay. He was younger than discerning child, or maybe child, because it's not specified in this question. He was a discerning child, understanding child, or no. So he says that this Sayyidi Sistani answers. He says it seems it's understood from the question that the child is discerning. Okay, so Sayyidi Sistani from the question understood, because stubborn, he doesn't want to do tawaf, and so he says that he will be stuck in his ihram. He will so he will يبقى على إحرامه ما لم يطف. He will stay in his ihram if he does not perform the tawaf. And there is no evidence allowing, no religious evidence allowing that child to do to appoint someone, or that the guardian can appoint can do perform the tawaf on his behalf, or anyone can do tawaf on his behalf. There is no legislative permissibility, there is no religious evidence allowing his tawaf to be done by representation, as long as he can perform the tawaf by himself. Yes, if he falls down, loses consciousness, hurts this and that, then that's something else. But as long as he can do that, or if he cannot do, but he can do that on wheelchair or stretcher or whatsoever, then niyabat is not there. Niyabat is in a very extreme circumstances. What about a child who was exhausted and he was not able to complete the tawaf, or he was not able to perform the tawaf? The answer if the amount of the exhausting or exhaust or fatigue or whatever tiredness he got, okay, is was going to cause him into be in a serious complication. That means he might become sick, he might become what they say, in a complicated situation, okay, then it is permissible that he's taken tawaf on a wheelchair or anything else. Even if you can carry him, you can carry him if you're a giant guy. Okay. Uh, if that was not possible, wheelchair or anything else, that he has to do tawaf either by himself, if not wheelchair, if not stretcher, if not carried, he has to do. If not, then the tawaf by representation will be allowed. Okay, tawaf by representation will be allowed. Question number 16. So this is about the elderly person now. Elderly person, there are several elderly person. Uh, they were not able to do tawaf by themselves. So a guide performed the tawaf with them on wheelchair, and they exited the state of ihram. Okay. However, after they rested, somehow an epiphany came to him, hyperbolic irfani state came to him. Somehow they got a spiritual Red Bull and they became whoopsie daisy. Now they say, well, we are able to do tawaf by ourselves. Okay, so the question is that after they rested for a while, they said that we can do the tawaf by ourselves. So will the tawaf they did on wheelchair, okay, will be sufficient or they need to redo? He says if they were able to at that time perform the tawaf by having some resting period for some time, and they did not do that, then whatever tawaf they did will be invalid and not sufficient. Okay, so therefore, in the beginning, from the beginning, if they were able to perform the tawaf with giving little bit pauses, resting period, okay, by themselves, not wheelchair, then the tawaf will be invalid. That means if they were not able to at that time perform the tawaf with such capacity, then they don't need to. Otherwise, if they were able to at that time have some pauses of rest, then it will not be sufficient for what they have done. They need to do it, redo it. Question number 17. A responsible person can perform the tawaf on his behalf. However, he has to take medication. And if he doesn't take medication, then somebody has to help him out, like on wheelchair or any other things, that somebody has to do tawaf with him. So will it be possible for him to take the medication? Yeah. Yeah, so the scenario we can imagine, somebody has some medical problem. He becomes exhausted, so he needs to continuously consume sugar, for example, juice or something like that. So if he does the tawaf, so the question is, if someone is able to perform the tawaf by himself through taking medication, and if the medication is not taken, then someone has to take him in on wheelchair. Okay. So will it be, is it obligatory upon him to take the medication so that he does the tawaf by himself? He says obligatory precaution. If that medication was not harmful, yes, then he has to take that medication. Final question. If a woman knows that if she is going to have contraceptive pills, or no, not contraceptive pills, the pills which prevents the discharge of the blood. Okay, if a woman knows that if she takes the medications of that prevents the discharge of the blood, monthly period blood, if she does that, she would not be compelled or forced to appoint someone to perform the tawaf on her behalf whenever the caravan is not going to wait for her. Remember that she has to wait until she's clean and she's relieved from her monthly period, then she has to do by herself. Unless if the caravan doesn't wait, if there was a deadline, and then she can appoint a representative. So he says that um, so if she doesn't take, she will be compelled to appoint a representative to perform the tawaf on her behalf if the caravan does not wait for her. So will it be obligatory upon her to have this medication if that medication was not harmful for her, or is it permissible for her to leave the medication and appoint someone to represent her in the tawaf in this case? He says obligatory precaution, the medication needs to be taken. So these were all the rulings about the tawaf by representation. And then we have one one Q&A session remaining for tawaf, which is the recommended tawaf. The rules of question and answer of the recommended tawaf. After that, we'll be done with tawaf. Then we will go back to the main text of Manasik al-Hajj and take the rules of Salatul Tawaf. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.